Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today's video is going to be segments of my classes I was teaching at the Heritage Skills USA event that occurred last weekend. And there's going to be some overlap and a little bit of repeating of information on this. The reason being is the second day that I filmed, something went wrong with the camera and it only got the first half. And a lot of the things I covered in the first half, I covered in the second half of the other day that I filmed the class. So my apologies for that. If there's any way that I was able to cut those short or clip those out, edit them out, I did, but unfortunately being able to keep the information and the context good as far as presenting the entire message, I couldn't avoid it. But anyway folks, I hope you enjoy it, and on with the show. Howdy folks, my name's John Timms and I have a YouTube channel called Boondockery, so I'm filming that today. And my class today is focused on load-bearing equipment that is dirt cheap. And this is a follow-up to the class that I taught last year on Modern Minuteman, where we went over load-bearing equipment for your home defense, community defense, property defense, anything like that, anything involving firearms and ammunition retention, things like that. So this is a follow-up to that for all of your other stuff. Load-bearing equipment is a place to keep your stuff. And I am focusing on things that are inexpensive and easy to acquire. There's a lot of, especially when you get into backpacking gears, a lot of things that you can go to REI and spend a lot of money on, and they may be pretty, they may be lightweight, but there's no way in the world they're ever going to last as long as military surplus. Now, the stuff I'm going over today is primarily military surplus, but there are some things that you can find on Amazon really inexpensively from different types of companies like Condor. A lot of these products are made in Japan, China, but they are definitely well made. As a matter of fact, testimonial, Brent 0311, he's a Marine and he is a very successful YouTube channel. He's out in the woods all the time. He's training all the time, going to all these different schools, things like that. All the stuff that he has for his modern kit is Condor. The stuff's made in China, and here's someone that retired from the military and the Marines, and he swears by it. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about as far as load-bearing equipment is your clothes, your pockets. Like you were talking earlier about, wishing you would have brought your backpack. Yeah. Because you're going around, you're getting stuff, you're like shoving all this in your pockets. Pockets are fantastic. When I was younger, I hated pockets. For whatever reason, it's just, why are there so many pockets on things? Now there can't be enough pockets on things for me. But literally, you could go out, on a day hike with everything you need in your pockets and on your belt for a good day trip, and you're perfectly fine. So your pockets, different types of pants, different types of purposes. The newer surplus stuff that's available out there, it's dirt cheap. It's ugly as sin because it is the universal camouflage pattern, or the Air Force's version, which is called ABU. And this is not camouflage anywhere unless you work in a stone quarry or you work with a lot of shale, things like that. But this is not camouflage, and it's ugly. But the thing is, all of these things can be dyed. I've done videos on my YouTube channel to where I use walnut hulls to dye this surplus stuff, and it turns out really well. The first time I did it, posted a video, people asked me if it was Ukrainian camouflage because it looked exactly like Ukrainian camouflage. And especially for the fall all the way to the spring, it's mega effective because it is exactly the colors of the forest, because I use something from the forest to dye it with. and it's also super effective in the woods. But like I said, this class is all about getting stuff to carry your stuff on the cheap. And military surplus stuff is really cheap when you're comparing it to things of equal quality in the civilian market. REI is a huge example. There has all kinds of awesome stuff there, ridiculously priced compared to military surplus. Granted, it might be sexier, it might look really awesome, it would be ultra lightweight, but the thing is, when you sacrifice the weight for the durability, you're going to have problems. I was just telling him earlier, I went out with a buddy of mine. He had just gotten this really nice high-speed pack from REI, probably $500-600, no problem whatsoever. And the first day out on a three-day outing, his strap tore away from his pack.
Oh.
And I always have a heavy-duty sewing kit with me with waxed linen thread and a sail needle. I was able to repair it enough for him to finish the trip. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. He contacted the manufacturer. Yeah, he got a new pack, a shipping box to ship the other one back. But you don't want to be in that position. He himself did not have anything to repair his own pack with. I mean, he had a different mindset than I had. So being able to have that got us through the weekend. But it goes to show you that if you're going to play hard, you have to have equipment that you can play hard with. And the military surplus is a good way to do that, and it's really inexpensive. When you look at civilian gear that's made to the same quality as this stuff, like Mystery Ranch packs, they actually supply them to the military, special forces, things like that. But when we're looking at some of the larger sustainment packs I'm going to show you today, you're going to look at a backpack that's going to cost you anywhere between $700 to $1,000. One backpack. Almost everything on this table that is here, for the prices I pay for it, would not be $1,000. Not anywhere close to it. So, like I said, we're talking about what's in our pockets. The USGI surplus clothing. There's always big cargo pockets, things like that. There's a lot of other commercially made, like these are Wranglers. I wear these things all the time. They're dirt cheap. They're like 20 some odd bucks. And cargo pockets, it's all spandex, so it doesn't impede any of my movement when I'm in the woods. It holds things close to my body, because a lot of fabrics that are either ripstop nylon, poplin cotton, things like that, canvas, they have a tendency to have their own structure. They don't conform to your body. So when you're walking, your cargo pockets, things are going back and forth, eventually you're going to have some abrasion or some rash on your legs, and that's no fun. So you have to have the first aid to be able to take care of that, or you need to tie the stuff down. But with the military stuff, lots of pockets, lots of different ways you can deal with that. Now for your belt, there's all kinds of pouches. They make pouches for everything in the Army. They have ammunition pouches, either pistol, rifle. They have flashbang, grenade, first aid pouches. All of these things can be used for whatever you want to put in it. This right here, it's a 9mm magazine pouch, a multiplier, a pocket knife, fits perfectly in this. Something like this, a GPS, your cell phone, a first aid kit, a fire kit, any of those things could go in this. And anything that you can find a need for, you can find a pouch to fulfill those needs. And all of these pouches here, for a few bucks maybe. That right there, I got it. I hold about a bunch of them at a flea market, and the booth, they were $1 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think these were $2 a piece. And
aren't they getting hard to find the Army surplus stores?
Surplus stores are very, very hard to find right now, and so things like this is handy. And back in the day, they had these things called Alice pouches, Alice packs, things like that. That's what I had when I was in. I'll show you some of that stuff here in a minute. But they had these metal clips, very uncomfortable. Now they have these things called PALS webbing, and they also call it MOLLE. But you can see that there is webbing that goes through here, and these straps will go through these through webbing just like this on a backpack, on a vest, on a belt, and it locks it in very securely. But for our purposes, we could just go ahead and run this right through here. And, this one right through here. And we can snap those into place down to the bottom. And now I can run my belt through these newly formed belt loops. And since they're split, you don't want it sliding around, you can actually put your belt loop on your trousers between the two, and it stays in position. So whatever it is that you want to put in here, you can put it in here. And like I said, any size and shape you can imagine. This is a magazine bandolier. It's designed to snap inside an assault pack, and I'll show you the assault pack here in a minute. But there's little snaps, you put it in there, and you need more ammunition, you pop it out, and you have a shoulder strap, stretch it all out, wear it across your body, and take your ammo. You can put anything in this. The whole idea of having bug out bags, get home bags, your family vehicle bags for things like that people have been planning on and preparing and getting together for years and years. The purpose for that has not gone away. It has not gone away. There's a lot of people that since the election thinks, oh, everything's great now, we don't have to worry about those things. No. Whatever the reason you wanted to do those back then, those things are still here. So don't be complacent. Stay vigilant. And but this right here, even if you're not into the whole preparedness thing, which is silly in my humble opinion, but anyway, I could very easily turn this into a toiletries kit for when I go camping. I could hang it up on a stick, have a little mirror hanging there where I have my toothbrush and whatever else in there. This could be a nice little family trauma kit, first aid kit, anything that you could possibly imagine to put together as a kit. Something like this very easily could go into it. This bag right here, this has enough trauma kits. There's 6 IFAKs in this bag. Where I work, I'm on the emergency response team, and I have an ERT bag. I have 2 of these in my ERT bag, and just for a mass casualty event. They'll probably never be used, but if they're needed, we have them. So this right here, this could very easily could be a family trauma kit, stop the bleed kit. If you're going camping, you have edged weapons, you have axes. Especially if you have axes, you better have some type of way to stop the bleeding. And so something like this would be real handy. You just grab it where it's from, throw it over your shoulder, take it to where you need it. Now, you can also have fairly large pouches. This is called a sustainment pouch. And the sustainment pouch is designed to be put on the exterior of your backpack. And one of these pouches can contain 3 complete MREs. If you break that MRE down, you open it up, you remove all the packaging, the little boxes, all the unnecessary things you don't need, you're not going to eat, things like that. You break those down, you could very easily get 6 to 8 MREs in one of these. And it can be very quickly removed from the backpack. It has D-rings on it, so you very easily could make a little knapsack out of this. And I took it a step further. There's something, if you are into firearms at all, about dump pouches. Dump pouches, I mean, if you get a brand name, respected brand name, I've seen dump pouches up to $90. $90. That's Gucci gear. That's a stupid investment of your dollars, even if you're wealthy. But what I did is I turned one of these into a dump pouch, or you very easily could use it for a foraging pouch. And all I did is I removed a couple of things, reconfigured a couple of things, and I have my PALS webbing here. I can attach to my belt. When I find some morel mushrooms or whatever it is I'm looking for, I just pull that down. I replace the little string that's there, With bungee cord, the bungee cord does two things. I can cinch it down to really hold this in good and tight, but it also holds it open. So I can access whatever's in it or put something in it easily. And then when I'm finished with it, I just go ahead and close it up with the extended buckle. So that right there, it took me maybe 15 minutes to do this, and it works absolutely fantastic. If you noticed, this is the ugly stuff. This not so much. This is using RIT dye. If you want to dye anything, get on RIT's Dye's website. There's tutorials on anything you want to know about any kind of fabric dyeing or anything else. There's also a section for formulas for colors. Hundreds, if not thousands of colors. And they actually have two military colors, which is olive drab and coyote. And coyote is the color I used. This is very similar to the walnut dyed, but the walnut dyeing has a little bit more of a warm gray to it. But, you know, and these were $5 a piece at the same flea market I bought these things for.
What flea market did you go to?
Peddler's Junction in Athens.
Okay.
And there was another one in Lancaster, but I was there recently, and that vendor has closed down his booth there and shipped everything down to Athens.
Okay.
But now, another type of pouch, which you can get online very inexpensively, is a Winnex chest pouch. But there's a lot of people that make these. Hill People Gear make one, and I think their least expensive one is right at about $100. They have more bells and whistles. They probably have a little more attention to detail, but cheapest is $100. These things can be found on Amazon, all shapes, sizes, all colors you can imagine. This is a little bit of a large one. It can compress down with these Velcro things. It's called Winnex, W-Y-N-E-X. And I like this because I can carry my concealed carry right here. I can carry my map right here when I'm trekking. I do not have to worry about how it's interacting with my belt or my backpack because my sternum straps go over the top of it. If there's things that are on my belt that are impeding my ability to get inside my pants pockets, I can just put those things in here. My cell phone, anything I need, spare batteries, you name it, I can put it in here. I personally use this every single time I go hammock camping, which is frequently, because I've tried everything under the sun to be able to keep track of my stuff. I roll up my trousers, and you would think that rolling them up will keep things in your trousers. No. It's just like, you know, I've been looking for it, and it's like, oh, well, so it's underneath, you know, my top quilt or whatever it is when I'm looking for it. There's also these Ridgeline organizers. Well, when you lay in your hammock, things start moving around. Well, those little organizers start drifting down the ridge line. So, and you're fumbling to get up there to get it. I actually at one time tried to put my concealed carry piece up in one of those, which I thought was pretty big. Well, I grab it the wrong way and it comes down and clonks me on the head. Not good. It's right here. I'm asleep, anything goes on, oh, okay. So, flashlight, which I usually have my headlamp around my neck anyway, or, you know, something really scary out there, I pull it, you know, got my headlamp, I'm like, okay, and it's right here. Everything that I need to have access to, emergency at home, something like that, I'm close enough, cell phone's right there, don't have to fumble for it, pull it out. But these are very inexpensive on Amazon, like I said, any shape or sizes. Again, just another pouch to put your stuff. Fanny packs. Fanny packs are something that came out during the 80s, I think. They probably had a version of it, they just didn't call it fanny pack back then. Well, it comes and goes out of style. When they're in style, of course, you know, you don't wear it on your fanny. You know, even they call it a fanny pack. And you don't wear it right here. You have to wear it to one side or the other where you're nice and fashionable. And there's
They
usually
crop it
some,
this way too,
yeah,
I see
yeah.
teenagers,
Yeah, they just, they,
Call it butt pouch.
Yeah, a butt pack. Yeah, that's what we called them was in the Army. But they're back again, but the military, they've always been in the military all the way back into probably the late 1950s. And so this is from the 90s. That's just a butt pack. It's a little bit smaller than its counterpart from the 1970s and 60s, like we had when I was in. They have D-rings on it, so you can make a satchel out of these if you wanted to. This one actually is not MOLLE. It has the webbing on it, so you could put things on there with MOLLE pouches. They can go through just like they would your belt, so you can expand that, maybe some canteen pouches or something like that. But these fanny packs, butt packs, this one right here is one of the newest ones. It's one of the MOLLE ones. Again, this one I dyed, and you know, they're great, and they can be had in this horrible color, dirt cheap. There's one, this is a Chinese brand, I forget what it is, but this is like the uber military style fanny pack. You can put 1 liter water bottles in the size here, and the way it's designed, you very easily could buckle these things up and put a couple of shoulder straps on here and wear it as like a little knapsack, a little backpack. This was never intended to be anything at all like a backpack. This is a chemical protection suit bag. This is the old Alice clip stuff. And you'd put your chemical protection suit in this, and it would be dangling off of your gear or off your pack. But the one thing I started playing with this, and I've got others to where I've removed these things here. This is a dry bag. I mean, it's water treated or waterproof treated. It's I think 200D Cador nylon, so it's pretty durable, and it can close up just like a dry bag with these buckles, and it's also a compression bag in that these buckles can be cinched down. So that's pretty cool. But the other thing is with these straps, they can also have a makeshift foraging bag or backpack with it. So and these things, when I bought them, I mean, they were practically giveaway. I think I paid $7 for these things. Some of these things I've had for a long time. They may be harder to find, they may be more expensive now, but they were dirt cheap when I bought them. These are made by Condor. These are little satchels. Pointed this out. This is like a mass casualty bag. One thing I do not like about shoulder bags. One thing, you are going to have fatigue on one shoulder depending on how much stuff you have in it. The other thing is, it's always going to get in your way. When you're running, it's going to be bopping around. It's going to be swinging here. It's going to be slinging there. It's going to be going everywhere. But this one has those MOLLE PALS webbings on it, so you can actually attach that to your belt or through a belt loop on your trousers. That way, it's not going to be swinging in front of you. The other thing you can do, you have a couple things, a couple pouches. You have different things in them, but you want to carry them in a way that is a little more effective. You just simply cross the straps, and you now have a very nice, very effective way of carrying a lot of stuff. And again, you can use the MOLLE webbing to attach to your belt. You could tie a piece of string here in front to just keep them together, and it goes really, really well. So we have those. Now we're going to get into I guess a little more creativity, but before we get to that, this right here I bought for $15. This is a hydration pouch. It has never been used. It was still in the package. It had, someone's name on it, but I looked at it, it had never been used. I mean, you look at the bite valve, and it's perfect. And something like this, if you were to buy this from Camelback, the same amount of space, made of neoprene,
maybe some of these fancy dancy buckles on it. Has a sternum strap on it, a couple other little D-rings, stuff like that. This will cost you $100. Okay, and you know, I luck out a lot finding stuff that is in good condition, but I do actually take a lot of time looking for them. But another way to carry your water, they have water bottle pouches or canteen pouches and the Molly as well, and those can be used for other things other than your canteen because of the way they're made. They're actually called general purpose / canteen pouches. This is a bit of Frankenstein work. I had an old Alice Pack frame, and I've had it for a little while, and I found this little miniature rucksack. It has all of the features that the medium rucksack had, except it's miniaturized. It was actually designed for a radio, and your comms wiring and your antenna would come out of here. You'd be able to put some other stuff in, but I put it on the frame. You have all of this extra space here, and I'm certain that they used, you know, a little shelf or something, put extra batteries or whatever. But I had another one of these little butt packs, and so I just put that on here. And so just by mixing and matching things that don't necessarily go together, you can actually make something very useful. And a lot of these individual component pieces can be found fairly inexpensively when they're by themselves. There's a couple of the packs I'm going to show you that when I got each component, it didn't have anything else. It was just that component. And it was compiled all together, much less expensive putting it together myself than buying it at the time complete. One of the things you want to do with any of your load-bearing equipment is to make sure all of your stuff stays dry. Everyone uses these freezer bags. I love these things. If you find a brand that's particularly nice, I actually will take it a step further. I'll use some Gorilla Tape and I'll tape over the seams. Yes, I'm that cheap. I find something that works. The ones that are really good have a zipper that will last a good long time. So if I have one of those, I'm going to take the time to make certain that the body stays in shape too. This was a box of these. They were $7. There were a few that were scuffed up and used. This is rubberized nylon. This is 100% waterproof. You could use this as a reservoir for water, and it will not leak. This actually is the exact same interior space with enough room to roll around and fold over as the large Alice Pack. And so you put this on the inside of your pack, put your stuff in it that you want to keep dry, roll it around, and that way deluge, you know, monsoon rains, things like that, everything else is soaked, but the stuff that you need to have dry stays dry. So you want to think about that as well. Okay, we're going to get into the packs. This is the smallest of the packs. This would be called like I call it a day pack. In military, they either refer to it as a 3-day pack or a 3-day assault pack or an assault pack. But this actually is a pretty decent pack. There's not an actual frame per se, but there's a very rigid form of plastic, which is pretty ding-dang durable. There's a cushion pad that's in here that makes it pretty comfortable to wear, and it retains its shape. This is a bag exactly the way I took it out to the woods just the other day. Did some exploring, so I have my must-haves, all of my survival stuff, things like that. I was going over some pretty rugged terrain. I have a bum knee, and I want my bum knee to blow out completely and be stuck out there trying to get through the night. So I have everything I need for survival, comfort, and things here, and all of my extra camera equipment. On there, a couple liters of water, everything I need for lunch, extra food, things like that. And that's a decent amount of weight. But this is basically about a 30-liter bag, and that's about the size you're going to have for one of these day packs or assault pack. Moving on up to the medium rucksacks. These usually go up from about 50 liters, 60 liters, somewhere around there. About 1.5 times what the assault packs are. This is an old Alice medium pack. This is what I had when I was in. This is a fantastic pack. These are getting harder to come by now, but there was a time to where you could get these things complete just like this, about 25 bucks. They, nobody wanted them, or they wanted the new and improved fancy dancy stuff, and they just weren't selling. Matter of fact, the surplus store that's in MacArthur, it's called the Outpost, they still have some of the large Alice packs on frames. They're a little dirty, but they're still 50 bucks. A lot of places you cannot buy a frame on its own for 50 bucks. This frame can be used as a cargo hauler all on its own. Anything that you can strap to this frame, if you have shoulder straps, and probably the waist pad would help a lot. You could take out, the hindquarters of a deer or something like that if you're hunting. I've lashed firewood to these things before. And the best thing about this pack, it takes a couple seconds to take the pack off, and you've got the exposed frame, and you can strap whatever you want or need to the exterior. I've got a little shelf that was designed to go on the bottom here, so I actually have carried a 5-gallon water can on this frame, fairly decent distance, very comfortably. But anything that you can have on your body securely on a secure frame is going to make things a whole lot more energy efficient for you, and it's very versatile. You can use it for just about anything. The modern variation of this is the medium Molly pack. This is a fantastic pack. This is super comfortable. The frame system is like a U shape, so it can twist and can conform as your body does. It can hold fairly close to it, but with these ventilations in here, it allows your back to breathe. These are hard to come by, and but when you compare something like this to a similar pack that you get at REI, this is probably going to be about a fifth the price. So those are mediums. Now we're moving up to another one I had when I was in. This is the large Alice pack. This can go up to about 100 liters or more, but there are extra pouches here. It's a taller, bigger girth. I used to call this the barrel, because when you had this thing completely loaded up, you put it on your back, it felt like you had a whiskey barrel strapped to your back, and you looked like you had a whiskey barrel strapped to your back, because you can't march with this on fully loaded, because you have to lean like this. Yeah. And that's not fun. I hated this pack. But for short distances, you have to carry a lot of stuff, or you're doing winter camping, this is fantastic because it has the volume to be able to carry all that bulky stuff. And the 3 pouches here, this one, the middle pouch, is much larger than the medium. And again, these right here, you can still find them. They're becoming collectible though, but we have alternatives now. These are current surplus issued things. This is the U.S. Marine Corps pack. It's called the Philby, and this is another Molly Powell's webbing type of pack. I save a little bit of money by buying these things in their component pieces. Like if you get just the bag and find the strap someplace else, the frame someplace else, you can piece it together a little cheaper. But now, this thing that really surprised me is post-election, surplus prices are dropping dramatically. And it really surprised me. Another thing that's dropping dramatically are the prices for MREs. Prior to the election, the lowball price that I was getting for MREs was $129. Now they're anywhere between $69 and $79 per case. That's fantastic, with 2025 inspection dates on them. So a lot of people have that, like I said, they have that mindset that things are okay now. It's just like there's no reason to buy this stuff. Well, right now is the perfect time to buy it. Yeah. And especially for things that are made to the quality that these things are. Like I said, this is the Marine Corps version, and I actually prefer this to the Army version, which I have 2. Both of which are dyed with different colors. This is an olive drab formula that you can actually get from RIT's website. As a matter of fact, anything you need to learn about dyeing fabric of any type whatsoever, you can get from RIT's website. It's fantastic. They have tutorials for everything on there. And they also have a color mixing section. You find the colors you want. It tells you exactly how much of what you need for that particular color, and also has formulations for amounts of fabric you're going to use. Like I could do 2 of these packs per 1 double mix of what they recommend for 4 pair of blue jeans. So I weighed this fabric, I weighed a pair of blue jeans, so I said, well, yeah, it's about the same amount of weight. So it really is a weight thing. And as far as the material goes, if you're using any type of synthetics and you're using the regular RIT dye for just regular fabric, you add vinegar. So for the amount that I was using for, I think it was 12 gallons of water, I used 2 cups of distilled white vinegar, and it helps color set the dye. This is Coyote Brown, and again, like I said, you can dye these things any color you want. And but this is the Army's version, and when you have the sustainment pouches on the side, that's going to increase your capacity. You can also put sustainment pouches on the front. The United States Marine Corps, get that back out again, they did theirs a little differently. They put their sustainment pouches on the front right here, and 1 hydration pouch on either side for, I think it's a 3-liter water bladder on each side. And so they were carrying a lot of stuff, but it's so well placed and it's so well balanced, it's so well secured, you don't notice it that much. The other big change is the type of frame that they use. I actually like the Marine Corps frame much better than the Army frame. It's more comfortable. The padding on the shoulder straps and the waist strap is much better than this. The Marine Corps, simply because there's not that many Marines, you don't have a whole lot of Marine Corps surplus like you do the Army surplus. These right here are, you probably can get those for anywhere from about a half as much as these to a little bit less. But if you were to be spending, 50 to 60 bucks on a pack, and you had your choice of the 2, and you could, it's priced where you get the one or the other, I would probably go with the Marine Corps one. I like the features, I like the way it carries, I like the suspension system much better than the Army. Right now, Army Navy Outdoors is selling one of these complete. I think they're asking something like $49 for it. If you add the sustainment pouches, that brings it up to, I think it's like $59. So for this capacity of pack, external frame pack, made as well as it is, that's a pretty good deal. And in fact, you can make it any color you want. It's even better. Now, the last thing I want to cover is vehicle bags. And these are all military surplus vehicle bags of different types. This is what I had when I was in. It's called the duffel bag. And the nice thing about this, it's a top loading bag. You just throw your crap in this, and it's got a nice little locking system with this little thing here. Run it through the grommet, run it through the other grommet, run it to the third grommet, and you have a little hook, or you can use a padlock. We had to use padlocks when they were in our room. And there we go. So you either have a carrying handle, like regular luggage, or you have shoulder straps. Now, the older versions of these were made with cotton canvas instead of nylon, Fedora nylon, and they only had 1 strap. These right here, you can cinch the straps down so they are completely out of your way when they're loaded. These are dirt cheap, and they're really plentiful. These are fantastic to load stuff up with for a bug out vehicle type of scenario. Anything you just need to get in a bag and throw in your vehicle, this is it. I mean, this is super simple, super inexpensive. Especially, you could probably get a family of 4's sleeping bags in this easily. A family of 4's clothing for a week in this. And as far as like hard angled things, I probably wouldn't recommend that, because hard angled things, if they get bumped on something on the interior vehicle, it's going to rip through. Now, the Air Force had their version. It's called a flight bag, and it's roughly the same volume, but it's more of like a regular suitcase shape when it's filled. It has a copper zipper on it, and it snaps as well, and you have double carrying handles. Now, when this thing's really, really full, really, really full, you can actually throw it around and carry it like this, but there's no shoulder strap. Now, my understanding is that the new version of this has been modified where it does have shoulder straps on it, and they have straps that go across here. I don't have one of those as an example. However, I do have the Army's version of the new duffel bag. And it, like the Air Force flight bag, has a lengthwise zipper. It has the same securing feature as the original duffel bag, and you have straps that can be used to compress your load all the way up and down it, and you have shoulder straps as well as regular luggage style straps. Now this here, I picked this up at a flea market. I think I paid $12 for it. And I don't think you'll be able to find too many of these things for 12 bucks, but you should be able to get these things used for about 20. And like I said, when I bought a bunch of these. These things are great for camping. And when you have soft stuff in them, throw them up on top of your luggage rack on your vehicle and strap them down. They hold into place fine, and it's made out of that water resistant Fedora nylon. And I've gone through some storms in them, and they did not soak through. But these right here are very inexpensive alternatives for load-bearing equipment for your vehicles. Now, judging my audience, I think that this will cover it. I didn't know who I would have here. As a matter of fact, I'm not even on the schedule. Not even on the schedule. So I didn't know who was going to show up. But I also have a lot of tactical load-bearing equipment. If any of you are interested in that, you guys can stick around and I can show it to you. But other than that, that's all I got. Are there any questions?
So when buying used gear, what are some stuff that you would look for to say, okay, I'm going to walk away
That's a
from that?
fantastic question. Now, the one thing that will help tremendously is if you actually know a little bit about the kit that you're looking at. And so that way you know if it's missing a strap or if it's missing a buckle or something like that. But if you're going into it blind, one thing you want to look at is things like this. Wearing of webbing, straps, things like that. This right here is still serviceable, but I think something like that, you don't really want something like this on particular areas. Like this one right here, it's real close to that cinch strap, but it was enough to pull through. And I had another one like this that I actually did a repair on. Repairing this stuff is actually pretty easy. I can do everything by hand, and if something's really thick, I can actually use a wood burner with a needle point on it. I make little eyelets, and I simply just sew through those little eyelets with another piece of webbing, and I can repair those. But you want to look for wear on the webbing. You want to look to make certain that the straps are intact, and think symmetrical. Almost all of this gear is symmetrical. Whatever's existing on one side exists on the other. So when you look at one strap, compare it to the other. It's like, well, this is here, but it's not there. This is supposed to be there. And think about that. And then, once you've given a good thorough look, make sure there's not big holes inside or outside. Really open it up, look at it. I'll actually hold it up like this to the light and to see if I see light coming through any thin spots. Because if it's really worn thin, I'll pass. I'll go on to something else that's not that thin, because it will fail when I don't want it to. So also look at the stitching. You see where the straps are attached to the pack. Look at the stitching. Is the stitching frayed? Is it missing? I mean, is it torn free? Things like that, because there's a lot of packs that have certain weak spots. And on this particular pack, these are the weak spots. And these are often missing or torn. They're pretty easy to make yourself because you have a double D flat buckle and webbing. And you have a tri-glide, a locking tri-glide. These things you can pick up, I know REI, you can get them online by the bag cheap. But that with some nylon webbing, and you can pick up nylon. Anything that I have that I don't have any use for anymore, I'll cannibalize all the buckles, all the straps off of them, and I just throw them in a little bits bin that I use to make repairs with. But those are things, any surface cuts, things like that, and you size it up. I mean, if I could get this, it has a cut in the top here, and there's a hole in it, but that's the only thing that's wrong with it. And it's a really, really good price. Is it going to be worth taking the time to repair? Could you repair it? I mean, look at it like that. You might want to have, okay, it'll be a fun little project, and I'll have a nice little pack, dirt cheap. Or you can say, nah, I'm not into it. I want something that's just I'm going to be able to take straight to the woods and to deal with it. But good question. Any others? Cool. Well, thank you very much for showing up, especially since I'm not on the schedule. You found me anyway. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as far as the video goes, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.